With nail wraps, they can be a little bit intimidating at first to apply, although once you get the hang of it, it's incredibly easy. I do have another video that is a beginner's guide to applying nail wraps. This is a few extra tips to get you started with your very first set of nail wraps. So my first tip is to size down. For example, when I use nail wraps, I use the biggest one here on my thumb, and you can see that that's a really proper coverage. That's what I've got on now. If it were my first time, I'd probably suggest sizing down, and yes, there's going to be a little gap on either side of the nail, but probably no one will notice except you, and it just gives you a little bit more margin for error to play with, because the problem that most beginners have when they're applying nail wraps is applying them to cuticle or to skin, and this just gives you a little bit more room to avoid that. Second tip is to practice before you get started. So there's 8 wraps and you're going to need 5 of them. So what I would do is work out which one I'm going to put on each nail, and then you might have you'll have 3 left over. Okay, so look, they're probably too small for your nails or too big, but I would suggest practicing with those. If your excess are big, you can actually use the backing paper, or just pull this off and use it as a template and cut around it to create one that's the right size. Okay, I've changed my demo wrap just to mix it up a little bit. So my third tip is to apply to your non-dominant hand first, and just to get that kind of muscle memory happening. So another part of that is to have both hands, kind of your knuckles, resting on a hard surface. Once you get used to it, you'll be kind of lifting them off and you'll be fine. My fourth tip is about placement, and it's about just how to focus your attention when you're applying a nail wrap. Now, don't be afraid to reposition the nail wrap on your finger as you work out how you're going to do this. And it might be different for different nails because you'll be working on different angles. So play around with it, get comfortable, and then go in for your first stick. So I'm going to get nice and close so you can see what I mean here. It's all about placing that nail wrap in the center at the bottom of the cuticle. If you get that right, it's all pretty easy after that. So there you go, I've made my first stick, and I haven't stuck it down, so I can still peel it off and reposition if this isn't right. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. And I'm just smoothing up and out. My fifth and final tip is about filing. Okay, so here's a little hack for you, well, a little tip. Use your thumb as you go, or your fingers as you go. And you can, some people like to kind of gather the whole wrap up and stick it all together, but I find that sometimes you can get kind of little bubbles at the top there. So what I do instead is I do it bit by bit, especially with glitter, which can be stiffer. So I'll hold it with my finger or my thumb, and I'll just work my way around. So remember to be pretty firm that first time. One file, straight down from behind, second file, and see how I'm using my finger there, third file. Smooth it all over, give it a bit of a spruce up. Look, I hope that was helpful. I hope if you're a beginner that you can go at this with a bit more confidence. If you have a nail fail, get in touch with me, send me a picture on social media or post it, let me know, and I'll help you out.